spend money on any way to get away. You know, it's not really a splurge, but when I was doing, 300 live dates a year up until COVID, this is the longest I haven't been on stage in front of an audience.
Yeah.
I spent my money on traveling privately just so that for germs.
Private jets, baby.
Yeah, but that wasn't about luxury as much as it was I didn't want to breathe the air that somebody else is breathing.
Well, now that you've gone down that road, you can't go back.
And he's laughing at the clown falling down. If you break it down, you're laughing at the misfortune of somebody you don't know,
right,
who fell, who kind of looks funny, but they fell.
Right.
And even if you tell a joke, two people walk into a bar, it's not a joke unless something horrific or embarrassing or awkward happens to one of them.
Right.
So all humor, that's why you see those two masks of tragedy and comedy,
yeah,
comes out of darkness. And I think most people who are comedians have kind of identified the kind of laughter in the darkness. In the darkness.
Well, have you ever, that reminds me, and I've talked about it, I think, on the show before, but there's an artist, and I'm going to mispronounce it, but I think it's Stanzik. It's an Eastern European artist.
Keep saying it over and over.
Stanzik.
I don't know.
Tell me when to stop.
Would you keep repeating it?
Stansok. Stanjiak. Stanjace. Stunjik. Stanjik. Stanjik. Stunjik. Any of those?
Can I do it?
Do it, please. Good God.
Stanjik.
Yes.
Stanjuk.
No.
Stanjik.
No.
Stanjuk.
Yes.
Just Stan.
Go back to the second one.
Stanjik.
That's it.
Okay.
He's created this beautiful piece of art, and it's about I think it translates to the performer or the jester. And you may have seen this image, and in the background you can slightly see a party happening. This has got to be the 17th century, and it's like a dinner party, and everyone's dressed to the nines. And in the foreground you see this clown in a jester outfit, and the hat's drooping down, and the bells are by his face, and he's staring off into space, slunched over in a chair because he's just performed. You can tell at this party. And the moment I saw that, I was like, I felt that so many times. It's unreal, of like all this energy and giving it all for this crowd and and it's reciprocated, and you're loving it, and you're smiling, and they're loving it and having fun. And the moment you go backstage, it's like this, like it's like somebody took the air out of a blow up mattress.
Well, I was lucky enough in the '80s to do a movie with Blake Edwards, and you know who Blake Edwards was, and I was a fan of all the Pink Panther stuff and everything that he did. He's an icon, in comedy film. My film that I did with him is not iconic, but
that's okay.
I got to work with the guy. And but he told me a story which has stuck with me. I think I've told it many times on television, and I told it in my biography, but it stuck with me so hard because it's kind of a similar story, but it's about, do you know the Boffo the Clown story?
No.
Okay, so there's this guy who's been going to his therapist, and he's been suffering from the tremendous weight of depression, so much so that he doesn't think he could go on. And he's been going to session after session, and at this particular session, he's sitting in the fetal position in the corner, sobbing and crying, can barely get, a breath of air. And he says to the psychiatrist, he goes, we've tried everything, and I can't take this anymore. I cannot take this. I'm going to end it. But I wanted to tell you that I appreciate, the effort you put in, but it's not working. And through his tears, he's going, I'm going to, just end it right after this. I'm here to say goodbye. And the psychiatrist says, listen, we've tried everything. I tried hypnotherapy. It didn't work. We tried medication. It didn't work. We tried meditation. It didn't work. And I don't want to see you end it. I think you must never give up. And I have one more thing. I want you to try one more thing. And he goes, well, what's that? He goes, well, the circus is in town. And the circus has this clown, Boffo the Clown. And Boffo the Clown is the world's most renowned clown because he has the ability to make people laugh. I mean, people have literally died laughing watching this guy.
Boffo the Clown.
And you cannot stop laughing when you watch this clown. And I am a proponent of laughter being the best medicine.
Right.
If you can, they even tell you in books, if you could force a smile, you will make your psyche rise and become a little bit brighter. Right. I got 2 tickets here tonight to go see Boffo the Clown and just watch him. And maybe you'll get a smile, maybe you'll get a laugh, and I think this is the answer. And through his tears in the fetal position from the corner of the room, he looks at the psychiatrist and he says,
of like total escapism and wonky reality is gone. Like Big is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I loved Big. I read for Big.
You did?
I read for Big.
Because I think what Penny did was like, we're suspended in this vacuum of like, what do you mean a kid is just gone and turned into an adult? But
Right.
everything else is normal?
Mhm.
And I love that. And Little Monsters was like this unbelievable fantasy of kids under the bed of like, what is going on under there? And what if there was this world and this human could exist with this other creature? And
I love the idea of what the movie was.
but you hated how it turned out?
No, I hated doing it. So
Right.
we had to, and I had no idea. And, they asked me to do it. And at that time in the early 80s, I think Little Monsters came out in 89.
89.
Yeah. So, but throughout the 80s, every time I was on a show called St. Elsewhere,
Yes.
which launched Denzel.
I was going to say Denzel and Ed Begley Jr.
Ed Begley Jr.
Yes.
Well, it was Kathy Bates' first television appearance,
Yeah.
Tim Robbins, like a lot of people who were young at the time just
Right.
took off. A lot of directors and a lot of shows and movies came out of our writers and directors on that show. Gwyneth Paltrow was always running around. She was like 10 years old because Bruce, her father, was our executive producer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but it was and I didn't even realize what that was. I was a replacement and then ended up, maybe, I replaced a guy by the name of David Paymer. Do you know who David Paymer is?
I know him very well.
Yeah.
I know
so-
him on a personal level.
Oh, he was Fiscus.
Yeah.
I love the guy. I always felt bad, and I'm thrilled that he got his comeuppance on Mr. Saturday Night.
David Paymer plays Little Dickie's father on my show.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I've seen a show.
Yeah.
Yes.
He plays Dickie's dad, and Gina Hecht plays the mother. Do you know Gina?
I know who she is. I
Right.
don't know her, but
Yeah.
and I have met David since they brought David onto the show. But I think my point was every break season we would. A lot of us would do movies or get a movie. So I'd read scripts. I love the script for Little Monsters, and so I went and I flew out. We shot it in North Carolina, Wrightsville Beach. And I don't know if
Wow.
anybody has been to North Carolina in August. There's such humidity.
Humidity, baby.
That is it. And I think at this point in life, they've in our industry, they have advanced the technology of costumes and
Yes.
coolant systems.
Mm-hmm.
But for this character, they just totally just glued for 5 hours from 4 in the morning till 9 in the morning latex directly onto my skin. So I couldn't breathe, and every part that wasn't latex, they covered with leather and whatever. They had me wearing like 3 pairs of clothes. The point was, I passed out every other day because of dehydration, and I was running to the hospital. It was the hardest.
Wow.
I thought I was going to die. And at the end of that movie, I made a decision to never do movies again. I just didn't. I didn't
Really?
Yeah.
That was the breaking. You were like, I'm not doing this game anymore.
No, the truth was, I didn't enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy I'd come from TV.
Yeah.
And in TV, we were shooting 7 pages a day, which I still felt was kind of boring. I didn't set out to be an actor or a game show host or anything. I just wanted to do stand-up comedy. And I didn't care if anybody ever saw me or if I garnered any notoriety or fame. I just loved that idea that, again, because of my mental health issues, nothing felt like such a distraction like stand-up comedy. And I was a guy who never planned anything and didn't really write anything and didn't have it. But that kind of fear of the moment after somebody says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel," was what propelled me. If you look at old videos of me, and then it was just me trying to come up with okay, all right.
You improv'd everything?
Mostly. If something worked and got a laugh, then I remembered it, but I didn't have an act, and this is not something that I set out to do. I carried rubber gloves because I didn't want to touch public restrooms, and I took my hands went in my pocket the first night I was on. I grabbed one of the rubber gloves, and out of nothing to do, I pulled it over my head and inflated it with my nose. That became like a signature piece. It's not comedy. It's not brilliant. It's just a guy who just didn't know what the fuck to do.
But that is what comedy is, though.
It was pure, it was real, it was authentic, and maybe that's what because I got the young comedian special I did was the first time on TV was with the other young comedians who, I don't know what happened to them, but there's Jerry Seinfeld.
Never heard of him.
No. Richard Lewis.
No, don't know.
Harry Anderson.
Not a clue.
Okay, and the hosts were the Smothers Brothers, and this was at the Roxy, and then I exploded. Like people who don't like to work out, but you work out really hard. It feels good when you're done.
Oh,
you
yeah.
hate it while you're doing it. You're not enjoying the process. You're soaked. You're tired. You're achy, but when you do it, you feel like an accomplishment. And that kind of feeling, when I'm doing it, I'm not thinking about my neurosis. I'm not thinking about my illnesses. I'm not thinking about me. I'm just climbing out of this fucking hole. And if I could climb and hit the edge of that hole, and that's what comedy is for me, I love that. So I need to go that's why my favorite kind of comedy is hidden camera and prank comedy.
Oh, you like that?
That's my favorite.
I did it for years. That was how I started. My first job was on Punk'd on MTV, the newest iteration of it. And then I did, I don't know, I helped write, 7 or 8 other hidden camera shows over the years.
Oh, really? That's how I came to comedy. So I came to comedy doing hidden camera because, well, I came to my life doing hidden camera. When I was 4 years old, Candid Camera was on. And that's the main, that's where it all came from.
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually started on radio with Alan Funt, and he was the host. And my parents loved comedy, and they bought albums, and they would watch late night TV, and we'd see stand-up comedy. But I was like 4 years old. So they would laugh at punchlines or even setups, and I didn't even understand what the fuck, what is that?
Would you laugh? Sometimes they say kids will laugh because they think they know where the punchlines are.
I would try to laugh to just be part of the crowd. That's why crowds are good for comedy, because it is contagious laughter.
Totally.
So my mom and dad are laughing, and they're listening to a joke about a mother-in-law, and I don't know what the hell a mother-in-law is.
Right.
But when I saw Candid Camera and he was explaining to me, here's what's going to happen. I'm hired this receptionist. It's pretend. It's not really a receptionist, but she thinks she's here for a job. And I've told her as her boss that she has to answer the phone every time it rings. I cannot miss a phone call, and I'm going out for lunch. What she doesn't know is we've attached a rope to the leg of the desk, and it goes through a wall into the other room. And every time she goes to reach for the phone, when it rings, we're going to pull the rope, and the desk is going to fly across the room. And what happened is that anticipation, like at a surprise party, they're coming up the driveway. I remember turning to my parents. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and we were all like sitting there in that anticipation. So that's like the setup to the joke.
Right.
We're waiting, and we're having fun. And the first time the phone rings, and she goes to grab it, and the desk flies across the room, and you just see her reaction. That was the most guttural, fun reaction I ever had. And what I realized, and this is just my little 2 cents, is that is the most relatable type of comedy, in the sense that we're all human beings. And whether that makes you laugh or not, you can relate. Like, what would I do? Like, I wouldn't believe it if I would know it was a joke right away, or that would scare the shit out of me.
Right.
It's very relatable comedy when you put people in uncomfortable positions. I think we're always uncomfortable as human beings.
Yeah.
That's why we get up in the morning and we comb our hair, because we can't just get up and walk like your dog does.
Right.
Just walk outside, take a shit.
She combs her hair, though.
Oh,
My dog does.
well, you're a good
That's
trainer.
part of her thing.
That's her thing.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go out looking disheveled.
Let me use another analogy.
Please.
A cat.
What?
Was that a good? Like, a cat doesn't comb its hair.
Sure they do.
Oh.
Howie, we got to get you a better analogy for how you get out of bed in the morning and start your day.
Does it have to be an animal?
It should be.
Do you have an encyclopedia or something? Or I can Google.
Yeah, you Google it.
Hang on. Animals. These wind guards don't work, do they?
What is that?
Wind guard.
What's a wind guard?
On your phone, on the speaker, or if you're going to shoot something outside, they give you a little fuzzy thing.
Oh, for like a mic?
Yeah, but I put it on my phone.
Why do you do that?
Because I'm often outside and there's a breeze.
Get inside. You got no business being outside.
But it doesn't do anything. I just taped it to
You
that
just taped it there just because? I don't put a case on my phone.
Why?
Why would I? I've had this discussion with a lot of people.
I'll
Sell me on why I should have a case.
I'll tell you right now.
Mhm.
This is why. Look I have my case. It's my wallet.
Right, but it's so cumbersome and big.
Do you have a wallet?
Yeah,
Let me see your wallet.
it's in the other room.
Well, that's even more cumbersome.
I-
You have to get up and
I
go to.
always keep wallets and phones separated. They can't be in the same room. Are you crazy?
But if you go out at night, so
Yeah.
now you got. Well, I guess your ass will look equal on both sides, because you got a
Correct.
phone in one side
Mhm.
and you have the wallet.
My wallet is this. It's only,
You know,
like, is there a timeline projection you have?
I can't. I'm doing heavy therapy right now. This COVID, and everybody's going through a tough time, has sent me into my therapist into a whole new tax bracket, and I've doubled my. This is hard for me. This is probably. Well, I shouldn't say that because we did AGT, but AGT has a whole COVID team that does well. But I came here to do this. This is hard.
I'm very appreciative you did.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
I
is
lived
real.
through the COVID team. We shot the second season of Dave in the middle of the pandemic, and it was so annoying. In fact, it made me lose my love for shooting stuff a lot because it was just not fun. It lost so much community.
Oh, yeah.
The chatter is gone. The friendships, the relationships kind of dissipate because you're worried about, you have to go right back to your trailer. You have to wear a shield and a mask, and everyone's getting tested, and no one's fraternizing. No one's eating lunch together. It feels very like,
Not good.
no, it just feels like how you hear these things about the studio system in Hollywood, a century ago. And it was very much like you show up for work, you do your job, and you get the fuck out. You don't talk.
That's
You
exactly-
don't hang around. You know. Did that feel like that on AGT? Was that it? Felt militant almost.
No, we were the first show. We were the first show back up during.
Well, you did stuff outside, didn't you guys do outside shows, right?
Yeah, but we were the first show that had as a non-scripted show that we went back to Universal.
Right.
We were the only show. They shut down the park and everything, and we were there and we were shooting outside.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then we were the first show we came up with the technology to have that virtual audience, which now you see on every show.
Right.
Right. And for me, that was a little bit therapeutic in the sense that because I'm good friends with I'm good friends with Simon and Heidi and Terry and Sophia. So we weren't seeing each other and we were communicating, texting and things like that. So the fact that we could be on a back lot somewhere and even stand 15 feet from each other and say, hey, we're out of the house, that was exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that kind of ended really fast. That excitement ended. And then it was, because that was Sofia Vergara's first year. And I can't tell you how many times I said to her, it's not like this. This is not fun like we have.
How many times has she been told that as a woman in her life? It's not always like this. This isn't always what happens. She's like, yeah, sure. I wouldn't be too worried about Sofia Vergara's. I think she's such a, from what I don't know of her, what I see or feel of her is that she feels like she just floats with the wind with stuff. She's talented enough to go along with the program, and the way she inserts stuff, like what she did on Modern Family, I think she was underrated on that show.
Absolutely, and I will tell you this, and I'd say that she's probably one of the smartest, most adept comedians I've ever known. She knows exactly
what's going on.
She knows.
Yeah.
And she also knows it's funny to play that sometimes you don't know and you misinterpret.
Well, comedians know that. I can feel that when I watch her.
Yeah.
But America, people in general sometimes will misinterpret that, and it's interesting because to me it's like she's beating you to the punch. People don't realize that it's like, oh, you think that she doesn't know.
Right.
It's very clever to do that and to just bite into it. It's almost like the iconic line that Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, or was it Nicole? Paris
That's
Hilton?
hot?
No. These. I'm sorry. It was Jessica Simpson said.
Chicken of the Sea?
Chicken of the Sea. Yeah, Chicken of the Sea, which she knew.
Yes.
But the play was so funny that America was like, how does she not know it's not chicken?
Right.
And it's like, that's why she's saying it, because you're blown away by the monotony of it.
Yes, except that, Sophia's doing it within the context of a comedy or, a variety show. I think Jessica Simpson, even though she said it.
She didn't know.
Maybe. She didn't. Well,